Hello, teachers and staff. I've got some food for the soul for you. I'll be honest with you, it's really for me too. And we find it in Philippians chapter 2, starting in verse 13. For God is the one working in you, both to will and to do his good pleasure. Verse 14, do all things without murmuring and disputing. It means do all things without complaining and arguing. That you may be blameless and harmless, sons of God, without fault, in the midst of a crooked and perverse generation, in which you shine as lights in the world. We have a challenge here in Philippians 2. And right smack dab in the middle of it is to do all things without complaining and arguing. That's a difficult one. It shows us there in verse 13 that God is the one who works in us. God is the one who gives us strength and power to do all that we do. He's working in us for his will, not our will, for his pleasure, not our pleasure. And then he says, do things without murmuring and disputing. He goes on to say that we'll be blameless, shining as lights in the world. And I just want to say, there are sometimes we get so busy and we get into this trend that I've seen people many times. I've done it myself. Things going on, my facial expression goes this way. I feel like there's a little dread in everything that I don't necessarily want to do. A little bit of dread in everything that's an activity of work or mundane. And I just want to encourage you today. Isn't it a blessing to have a job? Isn't it a blessing to have your family? Isn't it a blessing to have somewhere to stay? Isn't it a blessing to live in America, to live in South Carolina? Isn't it a blessing? And sometimes the things that we get so wound up in, complaining about or grumbling about, arguing about, God wants us to do it without that. To know that he's in control, working in us. And if we'll let him, we can shine like lights in this world that is crooked and perverse from the beginning of the day to the end of the day. But he'll help us do that if we'll do all things without murmuring and disputing, without complaining, without arguing. God help us to do that. That was for me. I hope it's an encouragement and a challenge to you. Thank you for all you're doing. You pray for me as I pray for you. God bless.